This is Our News, the weekend edition. And on the broadcast tonight, smash and grab thieves hit a jewelry store on Paradise Island. Plus, a cabinet minister voices his support for amendments to the Bail Act. And bucket by bucket, Buddy Hield wins the NBA's three-point shootout title.
Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Good evening, I'm Andrew Knowles, and thanks so much for joining us. Topping news. One man is in custody tonight in connection with the stabbing death of a man whose body was discovered on Ross Corner overnight. Police say it was shortly after 2 a.m. when the victim's body was found with apparent stab wounds. Paramedics were called to the scene. However, their attempts to revive the man were unsuccessful and he was pronounced dead. Officers acting on intelligence then went to a home on Ross Corner where they arrested an adult male in connection with this incident. However, police are still appealing to members of the public who may have any additional information to contact them. Well, police are also on the hunt for two armed bandits who daringly entered a jewelry store on Paradise Island and caught it off with an assortment of Rolex watches. The incident took place shortly before 11 p.m. Saturday. That's when the two culprits entered Rolex. Police say the store clerks ran to the back of the store after one of the men reportedly produced a firearm. The culprits then smashed two showcases, removing an undetermined amount of jewelry before making good their escape. Now, Atlantis releasing a brief statement on the robbery this afternoon. The statement said, "We can confirm that theft did occur at the Rolex store. The police were called and the matter is under investigation. Thankfully, no one was injured." Meantime, officers also investigating another armed robbery. A male and a female were outside a home on Esmeralda Avenue in Nassau Village when they were approached by two men, one armed with a firearm. The couple were robbed of cash and a silver Nissan Note. Investigations continue. Minister of Financial Services, Trade and Industry and Immigration, Ellsworth Johnson, is joining a growing number of members of the legal fraternity who supported the government's push to amend the Bail Act. Jasmine Brown has his comments in this report.
The immigration minister, who is a former president of the Bar Association, was vocal about his support of returning bail privileges to magistrates.
I'm hoping that very soon in our agenda, obviously the Prime Minister and others, the Prime Minister will determine that we have an opportunity to correct what to me is a social wrong that we have wrought against so many persons and the independence of the judiciary. And so, as I said before, judges have spoken about it. The bar has spoken about it. And I want to hear the bar much more speaking to these type of issues.
The minister's administration tabled the bail amendment bill in the House of Assembly in mid-December. The bill would enable magistrates to grant bail in certain matters and to provide rules to regulate bail application procedures. The 2016 amendment to the Bail Act restricted the ability of judges to grant bail in offenses involving intentional libel, assault, stealing, and other previously bailable offenses. However, unlike the 2016 bill, this new amendment will make provisions for magistrates to grant bail for drug possession with intent to supply and certain firearms matters. Johnson says it would only make sense to return bail powers back to magistrates.
Justice of Appeal, President of the Court of Appeal Justice Longley said, if someone can arraign a person, try them, and sentence them, then they should be able to entertain the application for bail. What I have experienced, and I know what persons have experienced over the years, is that when the issue of going to Fox Hill arise, they would much more prefer to plead guilty rather than to go to Fox Hill.
Additionally, the amended bill will also require persons on bail to register with the bail management system as a part of his or her statutory declaration. It's a topic that has been talked about at length by Chief Justice Brian Marie, who told our news team in December that a bail management system would allow individuals to apply for bail with their biometrics.
I want to commend the President Chief Justice for all of the improvements that he's making to the judicial system, digitization, the bail management system. But I am extremely excited about this, and I await the debate with bated breath.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Meantime, the head of a youth legal aid organization is calling for the establishment of a Juvenile Justice Act. Attorney Tys Smith runs Project Youth Justice, an organization specifically for young people who are in conflict with the law. Smith believes it's time to move away from the Child Protection Act.
There are other countries around the world that have moved away from those old practices and have brought new legislation that's in line with the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. I think our legislative body needs to look at it. We need a Juvenile Justice Act that talks about diversion programs, that talks about disposition programs, that deals with pre and post adjudication for children. The Bahamas has one of the lowest ages of criminal responsibilities in the world. At 10 years old, a child can be charged with a crime in the Bahamas. In other countries around the world, that age is at 14. So what are we doing when we're making criminals and convicts of our children at 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years old?
He believes the current juvenile justice system is contributing to the problem of youth violence, as he highlights one of the ways youths are disadvantaged.
We have a challenge where children are coming before the courts in such a high numbers, but they don't have access to legal aid. They don't have access to an attorney. And so if the parent can't afford the lawyer to advocate on behalf of the child, then the child and the Department of Social Services has to step in. And these aren't persons who have legal training. I've been in instances where I've seen children in court having to put questions to witnesses or having to cross-examine witnesses. That's a strange phenomenon in practice to me, because an adult or even some attorneys aren't skilled enough to lead cross-examination. But how do we now expect our children to put questions to a witness inside a stand?
Smith says in recent times there has been an increase in the number of children being brought before the courts for varied crimes. Aside from the petty offenses, these crimes include murder, armed robbery, and sexual offenses. However, to curb this trend, the youth activist suggests proper intervention mechanisms for children being brought before the courts.
We have to start separating these cases out. We need to start screening our children before we bring them before the court. We need to understand the psyche of our children. There are international reports that say the human brain doesn't develop until you reach your late 20s. But yet children are being held responsible for crimes at such an early age. It's just an offset in how we're dealing with this.
Shifting to other news this evening, Water and Sewerage Corporation may need additional funding to assist with completing restoration efforts in Abaco post-Dorian. That's according to Executive Chairman Adrian Gibson. 5 months after Dorian, Gibson announced that 12 settlements on the island have had their water supply restored. Berthany McDormand reports.
While acknowledging assistance from non-government operations in the aftermath of Hurricane Dorian, Gibson said the corporation has taken over restoration efforts. He said the corporation acquired $15 million from the Inter-American Development Bank's Hurricane Contingency Fund, but noted that that $15 million may not be enough.
As we go along, we discover new things here and there. We may have to go back and request another few million, but at this point we are still using some of the $15 million.
The executive chairman revealed that 12 settlements have had their water supplies restored.
The corporation can confirm that we've restored normal water supply to our customers in the following settlements on mainland Abaco: Crown Haven, Fox Hill, Mount Hope, Wood Key, Cedar Harbor, Cooperstown, Fire Road, Blackwood, Casarina, Cherokee, Crossing Rocks, and Sandy Point.
As for Grand Key and Moores Island, Gibson said the corporation is still experiencing challenges, which he hopes to rectify in the coming days. He also noted that repair work remains ongoing and is expected to continue for the next few months on Abaco, which include the demolition and replacement of damaged equipment, as well as new purchases including vehicles, water storage, and an office in Treasure Key. Gibson said the corporation is using solar energy.
New standby generators were also delivered this week for both the new pumping station and another for the well fields. When completed, our Marsh Harbor pumping station will be our most advanced pumping station in the Family Islands, with sufficient solar capacity to operate our entire well field and pumping station, along with standby power and BPL power for use when the sunlight is not available.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Grand Bahama native Buddy Hield once again putting the Bahamas on center stage. Heald, a member of the Sacramento Kings, came through in the clutch to win the Mountain Dew three-point contest on All-Star Saturday night in Chicago. It would come down to the final shot for Buddy, who trailed contest leader and former champion Devin Booker of the Phoenix Suns by 1 point in the final. Heald, though, was up to the challenge as he nailed the game-winning shot on his final ball to win the crown 27-26.
Going to go. 21. Money. Everything. Oh, wait. You need this? Spectacular. Wow. Absolutely. That's a three-point competition right there. You're right, D-Wade.
Buddy dedicating last night's victory to the victims of Hurricane Dorian, saying, "I did it for the folks back home."
Done all the way from Grand Bahama, now you're champion.
Just coming out here and just represent the Bahamas and full as I can, and I represent my family, and I thank God for be able to give me the win, and you know, man, I'm just happy to be here, and just happy to show out. And like I say, we all know I was a shooter when I was a little kid, and this is on my bucket list, and I was able to get it.
Congratulations to Buddy on making us all proud. We will take our first break here, but when we come back, Disney Cruise Lines makes a significant pledge to support businesses on the island of Eleuthera.
With Trio, you can get everything and more. Get 150% download speed increase than if you got internet alone, an enhanced television experience, and 15 phone features, all for, wait, it's still $99? But we boosted the internet speed. I'm just asking. Okay, fine. Just call 601-2200 and tell them that you want Trio, TV, phone, internet for $99. Powered by Rev. You and us together.
Next tonight, nearly a year after government officials expressed the need to relocate the passport office from its current location on University Drive, Foreign Affairs Minister Darren Henfield says they are still searching for the perfect location.
We are concerned about it. The building is not a building fit for purpose. But, you know, we've introduced the online services where people can renew their passports, and that has alleviated a lot of the traffic.
Henfield also responded to social media reports that suggested the Town Center Mall, which is owned by former Cabinet Minister Brent Simonet and his brother, would be the new home of the passport office. Henfield said nothing could be further from the truth.
We're always concerned when social media picks up on reports that are, well, quite frankly, fake news. We wanted to find a way to diversify the passport office so that Bahamians can have more access readily to renew and make applications for their passports. And so we're going to put kiosks in several family islands, Exuma, Inagua, Eleuthera, and places like that. And we considered using post offices in Carmichael and a post office in the east of New Providence. The Town Center Mall was never part of our consideration.
Disney Cruise Line making a pledge of over $1 million to the Small Business Development Center and the Eleuthera Chamber of Commerce. Disney Cruise Line's $1 million pledge is to span over the next 3 years to support new businesses on the islands of Eleuthera, according to the company's president.
And today it's nice for us to be able to come in and show our support. And so working with the Small Business Development Center, working with the Chamber, we're pledging over $1 million over the next 3 years to support new businesses, to support new leaders.
Just 9 months ago, we began conceptualizing the Innovation Hub idea. And today, we are one step closer to turning our dream into reality. We are truly grateful for the support of our friends from Disney Cruise Lines who are partnering with us to create this facility, which we know will foster a spirit of innovation and commerce.
Disney Cruise Line's relationship with the business community of Eleuthera has been fairly rocky due to controversy over its plans for Lighthouse Point. However, with this new pledge to help grow the island's economy, Finance Minister Peter Turnquest says the Small Business Development Center will be able to help a lot more young entrepreneurs.
This program is not about the status quo. It's not about empowering those who have already been empowered. This is about taking ordinary Bahamians and giving them the opportunity to create real wealth.
Up next, we take you on a tour on board Carnival Cruise Line's studios. So stay with us.
With Trio, you can get everything and more. Get 150% download speed increase than if you got internet alone, an enhanced television experience, and 15 phone features, all for, wait, it's still $99? But we boosted the internet speed. I'm just asking. Okay, fine. Just call 601-2200 and tell them that you want Trio, TV, phone, internet for $99. Powered by Rev. You and us together.
Welcome back to Our News, the weekend edition. Carnival Cruise Lines raising the bar in the quality of entertainment provided on their cruise ships. Tonight, we take a behind-the-scenes look at the acts and how you can possibly land a spot on a Carnival cruise ship. Here's Kyle Joaquin.
Let's go surfing now. Everybody's learning now. Come on safari with me.
It's rehearsal time at Carnival Studios in Davie, Florida, as entertainment acts spend weeks and sometimes months learning full shows that will make it to Carnival cruise ships all around the world.
So like 3 days of choreography and 2 days of vocals. So in 5 days, they have to know the whole thing well enough to go to Australia tomorrow. So. Yeah.
Throughout each room of the studio, you'd find another act, whether it be a band, singers, or dancers. There's also the wardrobe.
But these are the costumes that are essential for our cast to experience before they get on board. So all the costumes are on board, they're not right here. But there's certain things like a hoop dress or a special costume that they're gonna need to feel comfortable with during the rehearsal process. So we do that here. Everything that you see, just like we saw in there are pieces of costumes that are necessary for the rehearsal. These are pieces of scenery that are necessary for the rehearsal. So if we have 18 shows, they're all gonna have a lot of scenery, right? We don't have all of that here. We just have the key pieces that the cast might need.
Carnival Cruise Line's VP of Entertainment, Chris Nelson, explains that in some of the rooms, the flooring is set up the exact size and marking of the stage, so there's easy transition from the studios to the cruise ships.
The tape marks that are on the floor right here are several different ships all overlaid onto this one studio. So whatever we want to develop, we can install in here and we can rehearse. This lighting system in the back is special technology just for us that allows us to make a lighting design change and put it on any of our ships.
According to Nelson, these acts are on the cruise ships for months at a time, and they come from about 40 different countries.
Some of the things we do is audition throughout the world in major cities, and we also have a website, carnivalentertainment.com, where if we don't come to your city, you can just log on and you can submit your reel. You can show us what you can do.
And for those interested in showing off their talents on board a Carnival cruise ship, Nelson says you've got to be able to do it all.
You have to be a triple threat because we hire people that can both sing and dance. And if you can show that to us in a video, then our casting and booking team may hire you. If not, they may give you feedback as to we can't hire you now, but here's something that you could work on.
For Our News Weekend, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
All right, thanks a lot, Kyle. Well, there's a special cafe just off Village Road where you are sure to be served with a smile. Tys Place opened its doors to provide a place for special needs adults to find employment. Our Jared Higgs tells us that that's years on the proprietor's dream is now a full-blown reality.
22-year-old Katie Donald didn't talk much before she started working as a waitress at Tys Place.
It's just a really awesome place. You learn so much.
The cafe, located on the same property as Blairwood Academy, employs 15 special needs adults, including Donald. Its owner, Cheryl Newell, says she was inspired to start the restaurant by her son, who has Down syndrome. The name comes from his best friend, who sadly died after being diagnosed with leukemia at age 5.
He fought so hard to live, and he wanted to be great. And I said, I'm going to name this Tys Place.
The restaurant's building is a 110-year-old Bahamian home that Newell admits she was lucky to be able to purchase. Her employees have various learning challenges, including autism and Down syndrome. However, she insists that all are high-functioning and productive members of society.
They all get a salary every week, and they have pride. They have self-satisfaction. They have self-worth. They have a purpose now. They get upset if they can't come to work.
The workers' duties are divided by wait staff, who serve customers, backroom staff, who clean dishes, and the crew who help to maintain the yard. A few employees that we spoke to expressed their love for their jobs.
You kind of get to become closer with them, and then have friends with them, and learn stuff that I can learn from them.
I like to deal with customer, and I like to come to work every day.
Newell is totally committed to helping people with special needs. Her school, the Bahamas Down Syndrome and Friends Center, is an acknowledgement that there are so many developmental challenges out there.
I always felt, I could take care of my son, but there was a bigger picture and a bigger story, and I realized that there were so many people in this country that needed help. And I had started our school as a Down Syndrome center, but then I had to add in Friends because there were so many other developmental challenges in the community that needed help. So I started with 3 students in September 2011, and now we have 52 in our program.
Reporting for Our News Weekend, I'm Jared Higgs.
What a great story. We count down the most memorable quotes of the week. That's coming up when Our News, the Weekend Edition, returns.
With Trio, you can get everything and more. Get 150% download speed increase than if you got internet alone, an enhanced television experience, and 15 phone features, all for, wait, it's still $99? But we boosted the internet speed. I'm just asking. Okay, fine. Just call 601-2200 and tell them that you want Trio, TV, phone, internet for $99. Powered by Rev. You and us together.
Finally, tonight is that time when we take a look back at the most memorable moments of the week in news in our Quote of the Week segment. And coming in at number 4 is opposition leader Philip Davis, who joined calls by Busawu officials for Executive Chairman Adrian Gibson to be fired.
The Prime Minister needs to step in, right? Get rid of this child and put someone there who knows what they're going to do.
In at number 3 is Immigration Minister Ellsworth Johnson, who confirmed that in light of the coronavirus, the Department of Immigration will not grant work permits to anyone from China.
We are following the World Health Organization and PAHO. They, as the Prime Minister said, they're leading this effort. And so at this stage, we're not granting any work permit for anybody coming from the area. Just one could almost wreak havoc on this country. So it's best to be safe than sorry.
Well, PLP leader Philip Davis launched his election bid on Monday night during a rally at Columbus Primary. He takes the number 2 spot. And our quote of the week belongs to Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis, who made this bold promise, pledging that his administration will drastically reduce unemployment.
No politicians like to make such statement, but I can make a bold statement and state that I think by the end of 2021, unemployment rate, I'm certain, would be around 6%, if not less.
Well, that does it for our quote of the week and other stories making news this evening. But stay tuned, our weather forecast is coming up next. And that's Our News, the weekend edition for this Sunday. I'm Andrew Knowles. For all of us here at Our News, thank you for watching and good night.